Title: I joked, I'll pretend to be your boyfriend. She replied, we'll need practice. No one will buy it. The storm hit the city the same evening. My life quietly split into two timelines, the one I had been living in, and the one that began the moment I saw her standing outside the cafe, soaked in rain, clutching a thin binder that she clearly hoped would protect something important inside. What struck me wasn't the weather or the chaos around us, but the look in her eyes, tired, cornered, but still fighting. I had joked earlier that day about pretending to be her boyfriend just to help her get through a family dinner she didn't want to face alone, never imagining she would take it seriously. But when she walked toward me in that rain with that binder and that look, my joke suddenly became the most serious thing I had ever said. It was the moment everything in my chest shifted, like the first crack of thunder before a storm that changes the whole season. If you believe kindness and second chances can change someone's life, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support helps stories like this reach more hearts. Her name was Aisha, and she was the kind of person who carried the weight of the world quietly, almost too gracefully. She told me that her parents were expecting her to bring her boyfriend to their anniversary dinner, a lie she had told to stop them from arranging another meeting with a man she didn't want to marry. She wasn't ready for that life yet, not when she was still fighting to build a career, still dreaming about independence. But her family was stubborn, traditional, and convinced they knew what was best. The lie had been small at first, something she assumed would fade. But now they wanted to meet him. She told me the joke I had made earlier was the only thing she had to hold on to, because she had no one else to ask. And when she said she didn't want to go alone again, something inside me softened in a way I couldn't deny. So I told her I would do it, that I would help her, that it wasn't a big deal. But she looked straight at me, rain dripping down her cheeks like tears she refused to shed, and said that if we were going to pull this off, we needed practice, because no one, especially her family, would buy it otherwise. We spent the next few days in an unexpected reality, one where she slowly let me into the world she usually guarded with careful walls. We met in parks, cafes, dim library corners, and bus stops late in the evening, pretending to be a couple while also learning how little we actually knew about each other. She told me about her mother's disapproval, her father's quiet disappointment, her brother's sarcasm, and the endless pressure to follow a path chosen by others. I told her about my own fears, the job I had recently lost, the apartment I was barely managing to keep, and my mother's phone calls filled with concern I didn't know how to ease. Somewhere between all that pretending, we started slipping into a reality that felt too natural to be fake. She began laughing at my terrible jokes. I began noticing the way she tucked her hair behind her ear when she was nervous. Our hands brushed one evening, and neither of us moved away. It was dangerous, emotional, and strangely comforting all at once. But the closer the dinner day came, the heavier the air felt around us. She kept saying we could still back out, that we didn't have to go through with it, but the fear in her voice told me she wasn't asking me to leave, she was asking if I would stay. I didn't know why I cared so deeply, but I did. I wanted her to breathe easier, even if only for one night. When the day finally arrived, she met me outside her house, looking serene on the surface but trembling slightly when she thought I wasn't looking. Her family welcomed me with forced smiles and calculating gazes, each of them studying every movement, every word, every glance between us. It felt like walking into a court trial where the verdict had already been decided. Dinner was tense. They questioned everything, how we met, how long we'd been together, what plans we had for the future. She would glance at me in panic, and I would answer smoothly, always making sure to protect her dignity, always grounding her when she felt herself cracking. At some point, her mother made a remark, subtle but sharp, implying that Aisha was too distracted, too fragile, too uncertain to be in a relationship that would last. I saw the way Aisha shrank back, shoulders curling in like she was 7 years old again. My heart broke at the sight. And in that moment, something inside me snapped into place. I spoke up gently but firmly, telling her family that she was strong, brilliant, resilient, and more capable than anyone else I knew. The room fell silent. Her mother stared at me with surprised eyes, and Aisha stared at me like she was seeing me for the first time, really seeing me. In that moment, I wasn't pretending. None of it felt like acting anymore. After dinner, when we stepped outside into the quiet night, she let out a breath that sounded like she had been holding it for years. She told me her family never defended her like that, that no one ever acknowledged her strength. She looked at me with eyes full of emotion, and for a second, the world around us softened. She thanked me with a voice that shook just slightly, and the gratitude in her expression wasn't fake. It was raw, heavy, and honest. Something in my chest tightened painfully. For the first time, I realized this wasn't just about helping her, it was about healing parts of myself too. But before I could say anything, she told me she needed time to think, that the line between pretending and reality had blurred too much. She didn't want to hurt either of us by rushing towards something she wasn't prepared for. Her honesty stung, but I respected it. Except, as she walked away toward her house, she turned back, looked at me with a softness that felt like a promise, and said that even if this started as a joke, it had become something real she couldn't ignore. She just needed courage, and time. If this story touched your heart even a little, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who believes love can grow in unexpected places. Before you go, comment below, should he wait for her? And as she disappeared behind the gate, I realized I already knew my answer. For some people, waiting isn't a burden. It's hope.